Okay, so we're outside exterior. We have a breezy day. Big trees in the background, cars driving by. Air conditioning unit actually is kicking on because although it's gross outside, it's about to be fall, winter, like it's coming in right now in the Midwest. It's still like hot and humid here, which makes no sense, but that's what's going on. So this is like a general test for a medium wide with the MKH50 running into the F3. The mic's about 2.5 feet. It does have a dead cat on it. Peter Piper picked a pickle. 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 So the goal here is to figure out if we can kind of replace the audio person sound mixer on my feature film, and can I run audio by myself while making an entire feature film? It seems like a tall task and maybe not smart, but I thought I would test it out anyways because obviously I'm trying to do this at the lowest budget possible. But right now I've got a boom pole on a C-stand with what I call a boom buddy because my friend coined that, and I've got a Sennheiser MKH50, which is a very nice dialogue microphone. They're like $1,500 or something like that, which is a lot, but in the grand scheme of things, it's really not if I'm getting like the clearest audio I can get for dialogue on my own. I'm running into a Zoom F3 32-bit float recorder. 32-bit float, the game-changing audio situation now for 2023, because you just basically can't clip audio. And if anyone has followed the channel, I have had some bad problems with audio before, and this is going to basically just save that altogether because I won't have those issues anymore, because you barely even have to set the levels. You can, and it's helpful because when you get it in post, you'll have things kind of more equalized, but in the same regard, you just don't have to because you basically can't clip your audio. But basically, I have an audio person here. It's recording audio into a very nice microphone. Obviously, audio people have a lot of skill and need in the industry, and I don't want to ever say that we should start replacing them or anything like that, but it is amazing that I can buy a setup like this, and if I have issues, I could use, some AI stuff on it, or, equalize it the best I can for my use and what I'm doing. I've also been using this setup a lot lately. I've had to do a few interview gigs recently, and it was just kind of getting very cumbersome trying to hire an audio person every time to come in just to do an interview. So I decided to try out this setup. B&H was able to provide this setup for me for a few days to try out. So that's what I'm doing right now. The microphone is 3 feet from my mouth. So with this, I don't know if I'll have a time code situation, but I will always run a scratch audio track to the Red Komodo when I'm shooting the feature film, and then be able just to auto sync that in post using DaVinci Resolve's auto sync feature, which makes things really simple. I'm sure there's a way of doing a time code into the Zoom F3. If not, they just announced the new Zoom R7 or something like that. It's even cheaper than this. The Zoom F3 is actually $250, whereas that new one, which actually has a much better looking device. It has little tactile sliders you can move up and down, which this one basically has zero controls. It just has a few buttons on it. Don't love that. But I do love how small the F3 is. It has even a belt loop situation, so I could even, what I'm thinking about doing is kind of mounting this to the boom pole, and basically you always have this kind of wireless running 32-bit audio setup, which is really nice. But either way, you could get one of those 32 bits, plug it right into a microphone like this. This is an MKH50. From my understanding, it's designed for dialogue interiors. You can use it outside, but you are risking a little bit of issues with wind noise and stuff like that, obviously. But if you did put this in a blimp or something like that, a dead cat, it would help. But it's designed to be closer to your subject, whereas outside you probably would want to use something that's a little bit more of a shotgun length, based on what I understand. A sound person, Aaron Newberry, helped me out, and he said maybe it would do a 416 would be better, a Sennheiser 416, rather than the 50 for something like that. I think I'm gonna just try to get away with the 50. I'm also going to try some lapel mics, some lav mics, to see if that would be better for out exteriors as well. When I did shoot my short film Flea, I think I ended up using most of the lav mics on a lot of my exterior setups during the day, because when that mic is here, it's under a shirt, you can kind of mount it to a shirt. You are risking some wrestling, but you mitigate so much wind noise because it's attached to the person's chest. So that's helpful. Might do a, redundancy situation when I do that. It's either maybe just run the lav for exterior stuff like that, or just throw this up anyways. I don't know yet. It's kind of what I'm testing today. This is like a general scenario, right? You know, there's people talking in a room. They're lit like this. This is how close the camera is to it. Can I just set up a boom pole and get good dialogue myself? Now, of course, if there's two people talking, you have to worry about that. You can only kind of get one at a time. Maybe you could put the mic between them. They're not exactly omnidirectional. They have, a specific pickup pattern. But I think this is interesting. I mean, how do you think the audio sounds right now? I'm talking to you. And I'm just using this setup like that. I can imagine in a lot of situations too, I could get the microphone a lot closer, but right now with just this setup, this is kind of how it worked out. And it's so cheap and so easy. I mean, for less than $2,000, I'm getting like really high quality audio. Just like really nice warm sounding audio from this microphone, which I'm really enjoying. Also, just for the sake of comparison, I am going to throw my Rode NTG video mic on here. It's one that I use a lot on the channel. I've actually used it for short films and stuff, and it sounds totally fine. But let's see how much better this MKH50 is than a $250 Rode mic that's supposed to go on top of your camera, really. So it's supposed to be just a few feet from your mouth. That's kind of the pickup pattern on it. And just see how it sounds, especially running into a 32-bit float recorder. So here is the Rode video mic. Like I said, $250 microphone. It does have its own adjustment knob on it. So I think right now I have it a little higher, like in the 8 range out of 10. So there's definitely like a lot more audio being projected into it. Yeah, this is just kind of a test against the MKH50. Maybe I should have done a test where I actually said like, Peter Piper picked a pickle. How does that sound? Peter Piper picked a pickle, Because really, is the MKH50, the $1,500 microphone, worth it when you can use something much cheaper? Trying to keep the cost down as much as possible on this feature film. What I can tell already is it seems to be picking up a lot more background noise. It's raining outside right now. I have trucks driving by my house. Maybe it's because I have the volume up louder, the gain up louder. But it does seem like it's picking up more from the exterior. In a general environment like this, like most dialogue scenes that are going to happen in my movie are going to be like in a bedroom, in a kitchen, maybe a living room. There is a bunch of scenes in garages, which will be something to test for sure in the future because it's like there's going to be some echo in there, but that would be happening no matter what. Whereas a lav would be an omnidirectional situation, so it would be picking up a lot more of that. So we probably still want to be using something like this. This is also a quick test to see how the Komodo looks with the 18-35 stopped down a little bit, not fully wide open like the modern look. What happened, y'all? Why are we shooting everything so wide open? Why is everything got to be so blurry? Let's see something in the background, when it comes to actually narrative filmmaking. I totally understand for a commercial, fill that stuff out of focus, make it look good, but. Okay, so we're outside exterior. We have a breezy day. Big trees in the background, cars driving by. Air conditioning unit actually is kicking on because although it's gross outside, it's about to be fall, winter, like it's coming in right now in the Midwest. It's still like hot and humid here, which makes no sense, but that's what's going on. So this is like a general test for a medium wide with the MKH50 running into the F3. The mic's about 2.5 feet. It does have a dead cat on it. Peter Piper picked a pickle. Peter Piper picked a pickle. Peter Piper picked a pickle. Coming in for a close-up. So if I was an actor talking to someone else, the microphone is much closer to me. Peter Piper picked a pickle. Peter Piper picked a pickle. Dead cat's doing a lot. Peter Piper picked a pickle. Peter Piper picked a pickle? Pickup pattern, I don't know. Peter Piper picked a pickle. Let's try some lav. This is the lav outside under my shirt. Peter Piper picked a pickle. I've got the gain all the way up because it seemed like the noise floor was really high before. And in order to make this work, I'm actually running it into a Rode Wireless Go, the original version, not the newer one that actually has 32-bit float recording as backup built in. I did this because I didn't have any other audio input. And I'm running it into the recorder wirelessly. And here's the recorder now. You can actually see it, the Zoom F3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Something to note, this takes AA batteries. I'm at 1 more bar on my battery. These little recorders eat batteries. I think that new one is supposed to last for a really long time. Might look into that one. It is cheaper than this one. But like I said, I like this belt loop here. So you can really put some, like a strap through that and be able to strap it to things or even your belt. So I like that. The thing about doing it this way, which is not as good as just regular 32-bit right in, is that it does have its own gain on it. And I have the gain set to the middle right now, and maybe that's why it's not very loud. Let's actually gain up a little bit and see what it sounds like. Okay, that's gained all the way up. I can hear way better now. And I'm obviously not peaking, but this could be peaking, and that's the problem. Right now it says it's not. I've got green across the board here. I definitely hear some interference though, so that's unfortunate. I'm gonna gain back down because I just don't trust it. High gain, Peter Piper picked a pickle. What's cool about the lavs is I can just walk around. I can be back here. I can obviously walk closer to the camera if I needed to for whatever reason, and it's gonna sound the same the whole time. It's wireless, obviously. The other benefit you can do if with some of these zooms, which I don't see that you can do it with this zoom, but if I could get a cable that would run from the lav and plug the lav right into a 32-bit recorder and just leave it on the person all day as backup. It could just run all day. A lot of other people have talked about this online, so there's no reason to talk about that, but that'd be a really handy thing as a backup. I could just have them loft all day, run it, and then try to sync it later in case I needed to. Peter Piper picked a pickle. Well, I think this might be a good time to stop and thank the sponsor of today's video, which is Squarespace. Squarespace is an all-in-one platform to present your work online. You can start with one of their best-in-class templates, or using Squarespace's next-generation web design system, Fluid Engine, you can customize every detail with the reimagined drag-and-drop technology for desktop or mobile. Or maybe you want to start an online store to sell your photography or other products. Squarespace has all the built-in functionality to get one of those up and running quickly, and I've actually been using Squarespace to run my online stores for almost a decade now. And of course, if you're like me, you're probably looking to build a portfolio, which Squarespace has a ton of features for that very thing. You can even create private galleries for client work using these tools. So if you're looking for a home for your work, well, you can just do that with Squarespace. Click the link in the description to get 10% off, and I want to thank Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Okay, so we're back on the MKH50, but let's talk about the lavalier a little bit longer. I would assume that that would be an okay scenario for when maybe I have like a dialogue scene between two people. I need to run two microphones at the same time, and hopefully they're not too close to each other. If the people are like pretty close for the dialogue, I'd probably just try to use this overhead MKH50, even though it's designed to be, pointed basically at your subject. But I would guess with the omnidirectional, they would their noise would bleed over each other. Probably isn't that big of a deal, but I'm trying to do what I can and mitigate as much as I can, having a sound person always there. So I think the other solution is obviously have someone there, maybe not a proper sound person that will, cost a lot of money to be there, but someone at least directing the boom pole back and forth between each person. That's probably what I'll end up doing. I'm gonna try to do this with like one or two hands on set, my wife, and then like a swing, like a grip AC swing. So maybe that will be the move for that, like kind of set it up like in this environment when I can, but then also have someone holding it when I can as well. I mean, it's pretty incredible where we're at with technology right now that, we're always talking about just go make a movie, but really this is the process of how I could actually do that, is by using this kind of setup. But I hope this gives you some sort of idea what it would be like running your own audio. This would obviously work for something like an interview setup as well. I've been using it like this over the past few weeks for a gig with multiple interviews in it. And this seems like a really easy option for something like that when you don't have the budget to hire a proper sound person. So before I go, I do want to plug my short film Flea one more time. There's 60,000 of you that are subscribed to this channel, and only about 4,000 of you have watched that film. It is long. I do know that you need to sit down and take time to watch it. And just make sure you get past the first 3 minutes. The first 3 minutes of the film is a oneer. It never cuts for 3 minutes, and I know that can maybe confuse some people and they kind of stop watching, but it's worth it. Get into the film once you get past that 3-minute mark. I just appreciate it if you give it a watch. I would like to hear what you guys think about it. But that's all I have for this video. Until next time, guys, I'm Tencho Sakurai. See ya.